Good morning, everybody. Sorry you can't see me. There's some problem with one of my video cameras here. I'm not sure why it wasn't working. I was trying to get it going there for a little bit, but let's see. Good morning, everybody. So I think I'll have to restart my computer or something to let it kind of re-engage. But yeah. Okay. Well, let's see what we did for sketching this last week. You know what? I don't think I had very much. Let's see, last week I think I showed this stuff. You know what? Here's probably the only sketch that I've got. Is that focused? That looks a little better. In church, there's a song we were singing, and it talked about how God is our maker, just some of the different characteristics of God or things that he does or main things he would be known for. And one of them was just that he's our maker. And so I was thinking of someone forming a clay pot. And so anyway, I did this little sketch as an idea, and I actually yesterday I developed the idea even further, and I like where it's going, and so I'm going to see if I can make it into a piece. That's been my big challenge, my big maybe you could say struggle. Just these imaginative pieces, you know, I like this idea, but how do I turn this into a painting? And I've only done that very few times. It just takes a lot of figuring out, and I have to find all the puzzle pieces and get them all to fit together. But it will happen, because I don't think the Lord's going to let me get away with not doing it. All right, verse of the day. This is Psalms. These are nice, easy ones usually. Psalm 91:1. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Okay. I immediately have an image in my mind. Is the lighting good here? Looks kind of shadowy to me. I wonder if this is causing... Yeah, that is. My desk is getting a little crowded, and I'm worried I'm going to dip my watercolor brush into my drinking water. Alright, this sounds amazing to me, this image I have in my mind. I do love these kind of verses. Just the good feelings of being with the Lord. I think all of us do. You guys seeing that okay? Let me know if it's not showing up very good. I'll make some bolder pen lines. I'm just kind of thinking as I'm drawing here about what I was just saying about, you know, the good feelings of the Lord. Good verses that make us feel good things, and, you know, that's nice and all. But just in my Bible reading lately, some of the things I've been reading, it's really calling to my attention how maybe I've compromised way too much with the world and just seeking what a good life in this world looks like rather than living a heavenly life. And one realization with it was, I can have my private time with the Lord, which can be good, and I can have good revelations, and the Lord speaks to me, we pray and talk, and I can pour out my heart to Him. But then one thing that just recently I've done it the last 2 nights with my family is just reading whatever's next in I have kind of a daily Bible reading plan in my Bible, and I'm not really following, I'm not on the right day, I'm behind. But I'm doing whatever's next and read whatever I can. And so we read that, and then we had a really good discussion about it. And it really brought more to life and connected more to life. Just God's Word, God's plan, God's existence being present in just kind of the everyday life. I feel like there continues to be this separation, kind of I have my day-to-day life, but like in the mornings I can meet with the Lord, and even though I'm praying throughout the day, my heart really isn't fully set on the Lord. In the morning I can have more of those times. But things kind of get separated during the day, and I think that's why I experience maybe just more worries throughout the day or frustrations, and because it's like when I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this, that when what's true, God made everything, He's got a great plan, He loves us, He's all things will work together for good. We know we have eternity in heaven to look forward to. We don't need to fear death or pain. We know all this stuff, but then it just seems like we live like that stuff just really isn't there. And I think it's because our day-to-day life just doesn't have that in it. One thing I think of is like the types of shows we might watch. Even though maybe there's nothing bad in it, there's just a lack of a presence of God there, that maybe the characters just don't even talk about God. They don't there's no mention of God really. Maybe there's some poking fun about the idea or about Christians, but we've actually been watching the show The Middle, and actually that show kind of it's not like it's great in this regard or anything, but it is quite refreshing though that they do address the issue of God a number of times, and I just find that kind of refreshing. But anyway, back to my point just about just sort of lacking that sense of God in our day-to-day life. Sorry, now I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next on here. I lost my focus there a little bit. Anyway, I've just been thinking about that. And Thinking we need more of this, like incorporating God in our day-to-day life. And that's certainly not a new idea by any means. It's just something that's hard to do. Let's see, is this the type of pen I want? Sure. So I've been thinking more about ways to talk more with others about God. Just friends, getting together with family members. If the kids are having friends over, maybe we can like just read a little bit from the Bible and just talk about it, and just very naturally, and not be like a church event, not be a planned small group. That's just something on my mind I want to try to do. So hold me accountable to that. Ask me, have you gotten together with some people to... For some reason this white is making it look like it's nighttime or something. Not sure that's what I want. Still working on this glow, forcing it into my drawings. The last time I did, and kind of went too far with it. I don't know if this is showing up or not. Yeah, I wonder if it's the brown paper that makes it look like night. Let's see, I'm going to kind of wash this out a little bit. Maybe that pen dried a little too much. We'll just make our paper all wet. Might come back and add a little more accent to the figure there. Well, nothing real profound here with this. Shelter. A nice lovely beach. Once that dries, I think I'll add somebody else in there. They're not alone. So you can just sketch little... It's nice doing figures like this because they're... You just need to blob them in. One thing you can do is kind of make a blob and then just sort of see, do you see a figure in there? See what they're doing? Maybe you don't plan ahead what they're doing, how they're sitting. But once you get a little blob there, then let your imagination go to work and let your imagination tell you, like, hey, the figure is actually doing this, and maybe you had something else a little bit different in mind. So, you know, this doesn't look like a great shelter, does it? Looks pretty weak. Oh, and they're probably, if it's going to really hold up, need some rope. There, now that is a strong shelter. Not really. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Alright, now I'm going to try something different. Oh, let's see what other toned paper I've got. Something a little bit lighter. Alright, I've got gray. Yeah, let's try the gray. I feel something. See if I can fit this in the screen here. Sometimes it's helpful to just maybe you see something in your mind and you start with a detail. I would say maybe try to avoid that. Maybe try to get the overall picture there. Some of the overall lines, bringing the energy so you can start to see this almost house shape. But it's not going to be a house. Well, I guess you could think of it as a house. But you see the energy coming in. Maybe you can see a little more of what I'm piecing together. So these scribbles started out as one thing, but kind of changing them a little bit. I didn't like the location of, I was going to put in a figure, and I started him in one spot up here, and I was making, I felt like I made his head too big. I wanted to bring him back a little bit. So I just turned the other thing into, what I started into another aspect of the drawing. And remember, when you're sketching ideas out like this, I say this all the time, don't worry about perfection. I'm thinking of that because I'm feeling like I'm not being very perfect in this. So I'm kind of reminding myself to not worry so much about it. So we just put lines in that feel like they're going to create meaning. I want a hard line across here just to help break up the picture. Just thinking kind of a crucifix up here. Some big stained glass up here. Up here we've got kind of a angelic statue maybe. This is getting very very Catholic looking. I haven't been in too many Catholic churches, but I have been in some, and some of them are just, I feel like the Catholic churches, they just really understand like bringing in the beauty and like anything, you know, it becomes, you know, I think there's been the rebellion against that. Like, church is not about, you know, this kind of overindulging and making it so look so amazing, and then you kind of idolize the church almost, and the, you know, the liturgies and all that stuff, and you feel like you have to say those liturgies and you have to be in that presence, you know, certain presence in order to truly worship the Lord or to confess or whatever. But so then people have made churches that are just these warehouse buildings, and you know, we just kind of have to keep changing things up, I think. That's why we need artists to be creative, and artists are good at calling out the lies, calling out the things that aren't working. Artists are truth seekers. I heard that once before, and I think that is so true. I feel like that is such a great description. Alright, here we go with the glow again. But yeah, I think true artists, we like to or musicians, we tend to be able to call out like why something's working and why something isn't. We can seem stubborn about certain things. We can seem rude to people because we say, you know, we bluntly tell them what they're doing right or wrong, or that they're thinking one way, or I don't know. Artists are truth seekers. That's all I'm trying to say. So, this verse, whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. So we've got of course, the house of the Lord. What a great place to rest or dwell in his shelter. Make sure I'm not smearing. Let's give some glow to this guy. Alright, what tone? Let's see if there's another. Let's just keep it all white. I wonder if the yellow is throwing it off. Doesn't this look like a safe place, though? A representation of a safe place, I should say. It's a visual that can help you dwell on being with the Lord. That's kind of the idea with art. The art is just a representation. Of something truthful, something maybe we cannot see. Did I make this crooked? That bugs me. See if I hold this flat and everything's tipped that way. There. Fixed. A little darker. So these are kind of representing, you kind of think through what the shadows and lights are doing. So these are like the backs of the pews, or the, here's some kind of I always call it the Ark of the Covenant, churches that have these things in the front. Some sort of altar thing. So just looking at it, I can kind of see where I need to, it actually helps me. I'm looking over at my monitor. And it actually helps me to see the picture in a seeing the whole thing a little better because it's smaller on my monitor. But stepping back and looking at your art pieces is a good, helpful thing. I think I need to add a little more glow. Oh, we'll go for it. We'll add some yellowish. It's going to throw it off. I'll just add some white glow around here. Just kind of look where it feels like it needs some lines. Maybe you don't even know what is supposed to be there. Let's add some white stripes. Isn't it a band name? So that was N4. Let's go N6. Go even darker. So we're coming. Probably should end things here pretty soon. This guy should be darker because the shadow's behind him. These people should be dark because the light's coming from in front of them. Yeah, now you can feel it. Shadow in front of the Ark of the Covenant. Some shadows on these angel sculptures. All right, let's call that good. That was kind of fun. Let's compare these shelters of the Lord, or being in the shelter of the Almighty, on the beach in this cloth and sticks. And then a little bit of an improvement here of much greater structure, I think. So, again, just thinking of the sketching idea and developing ideas, dwelling on this, we can read verses like this. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. And we might think, yeah, that's nice, you know. It certainly is better to dwell in the shelter of the Most High. And then we're done. Our thinking is done on that. But then, you know, I immediately thought of this picture. I immediately thought of like a beach, a peaceful beach. And so I guess in some ways shelter is just the piece of the beach. It's not just the cloth, the covering here for shade. So there is a sense of shelter there, but then it made me think, you know, what other types of shelter, whatever other type senses of shelter might I like. And just then I immediately had this picture, this idea in my mind, and so to draw it out just brought so much more settling in of the idea, settling in my heart, settling in my mind. I can take this image will be more planted in my mind throughout my day, and I can remember and dwell more on that, you know, the sense I want and desire as far as dwelling in the shelter of the Lord, because I can walk through my whole day with that idea, and that would be wonderful. um, so anyway, hope you enjoyed following along and drawing along or just listening. And please share your sketches, your drawings. I'd love to see what you're doing, or your comments, suggestions. So thanks again, and I'll see you here next week on Tuesday Bible Sketching. Tuesday Bible Sketching. Da-da.